If you weren't looking at me and you sang, you're wrong. Ready, and.
You don't have to spend much time in Dr. Judy Bauer's choral education class to know two things. She's passionate about music.
Oh my gosh, beautiful.
And teaching.
Hard. Is that line hard to sing with technique? Yes, it is, to sing it beautifully. All of us, it'll be good practice for everybody. 1, 1, 2.
At FSU for 27 years, Dr. Bowers is preparing these future music teachers and music therapists for careers in the real world.
I pretty much put the kids in the schools because that's where they're headed.
But 2.5 years ago, a struggling choir reached out to her. She thought it was just for advice.
When I got there and I walked into a room and they said, and here's your choir, I realized, oh, I'm doing this.
That choir made up of inmates here at the Gadsden Correctional Facility in Quincy.
They were so excited and so happy. I just couldn't tell them no.
Needing help that first semester, Dr. Bowers asked some undergrads to come with her.
I saw the interaction for that and I thought, what is wrong with me? They need to be involved.
From then on, students started volunteering their time with the FSU MTC Glee Club.
This is an opportunity for future teachers to understand life a little bit better before they enter the classroom.
Doctorate student Brandon Boyd not only helps Dr. Bowers with the club, he also plays piano during rehearsals.
The students that are involved give of their own time and money. I mean, they could be doing anything else. They don't have to go. But I tell you, once you go, you're hooked.
Tia Patel, a sophomore music therapy major, agrees.
First, I was nervous, a little anxious, but then the second you step in, all of that is just blown away.
For 2 hours every Thursday, the group works on things like scales.
Flip straight, fa, so, la, ti, no, you got it.
And music theory.
Can you find it on page 7, System 2? Touch it, FSU buddies, be sure they see it. Several kids, they work their schedules around having that rehearsal time free because they know people are waiting on them to come.
People like Jennifer Lockwood.
The students come and they love us. We're people just like they are. You know, we made a mistake and we're learning from it.
Not only are the students putting their teaching skills to use, they're also learning something Dr. Bauer says she can't teach. Empathy.
Many a kid across these 5 semesters has said, you know, my buddy is in prison and she made a mistake, but she's not a bad person. Now, think about that. That's a life mission to look out for the other people.
Helping them even for a short time. Remember, there's life beyond the fence.
But we depend on each other. It's not just us there to help them. It's a win-win situation.
Helping these women gain skills for life on the outside, while preparing students for real life inside a classroom. And take a look at this. The FSU MTC Glee Club is even catching the attention of the Tallahassee Community Choir, asking them to be part of their Unity concert last month. The Glee Club creating a video telling the audience how the power of music unifies us all, and with not even a prison wall able to block it out. Pretty special program for everybody involved. I'm Abby Walton in St. Mark's outside the Riverside Cafe, where normally this place is packed on Memorial Day weekend. Now, not so much. There are a few people inside. They are open for a little bit longer, but they say they are heeding the warnings and employees are starting to get things up off the ground. The owner told me that he will be here during high tide just to make sure everything is okay, but they have seen a lot of storms in their 23 years, and right now he told me he is just hoping for minimal water damage. I'm in Oyster Bay near Shell Point, and as I was driving here, I started to notice a lot of this. You can see behind me, cars just parked on the side of the road. This isn't the only spot. There's a lot of them there. So I'm gonna walk this way. So I'm thinking, where are all the people? Why are they putting their cars here? And so then I ran into somebody, my new friend Steve. And we were talking about flooding and things like that, and I asked him, why are all these cars parked along the sides of the roads? Well, Steve lives down this road right here where Oyster Bay is, and he says that a lot of people bring their cars up here if they know that there could be possible storm surge when the high tide comes in, obviously to protect their cars. So that's why you're seeing all of these cars here. So they are kind of worried that there may be still some flooding with this high tide that comes in. but Steve says he wouldn't want to live anywhere else.
It's quiet most of the time. It is sometimes, this time around, it's kind of gotten under my skin. But because it's quiet, I've got this nice view, and I can walk that way and look at the surf, or I can be on my bicycle in 5 minutes, be over in Shell Point.
Steve says he has been out here for several storms, and he's just glad that they remained unscathed through the high tide early this morning, and he is hoping for more of the same when the afternoon high tide hits. Good morning, everybody. I'm actually standing outside the hotel here in Crawfordville where I stayed Sunday night, and as you can tell, the rain literally 10 minutes ago wasn't like this. Now it's picking up. That's been the story all evening. Periodic spurts of heavy rain, heavy wind, and then just times where you would see nothing at all. I don't know if you can see behind my shoulder right there. There are power crews that are willing and ready to go should the power come out. That hasn't really been an issue this evening, thankfully. But I will say that the McCulloch County Sheriff's Office, their main concern now is with coastal flooding, storm surge. That's exactly what business owners in St. Mark's, when I was there Sunday, what they were worried about. I'm going to head over now and see how things are doing there. I'll bring more later this morning. Back to you. This is Abby Walton reporting outside of the Riverside Cafe here in St. Mark's. It is definitely a Memorial Day this restaurant will remember. Take a look at this. I'm just gonna let you take a look at the scenery instead of me here. I am in about ankle deep water right now. Stan, the owner, back there. He was here earlier this morning, about 3 o'clock this morning when high tide came in the morning. There wasn't any water. He said, I'm going back to bed. He said he'd be back for the afternoon high tide, and he is. And of course, as you can see, there is about ankle deep water here throughout the restaurant. But I will tell you, as the water started to rise, people were still packing these picnic tables, eating, having a good time. And they said, you know what, now we're just going to wait for it to recede. We've unplugged everything we needed to. We've gotten everything off the floor that we've needed to. So now we're just going to hang out, let the waters recede. And as Stan was saying to me Sunday, this is best case scenario for them. They have seen it much worse. And so they said if there's just a little bit of water on the floor, then again, best case scenario from Alberto. I am here off of Riverside Street in St. Mark's, where as you can see behind me, the St. Mark's River overflowing its banks during the afternoon high tide. Early this morning with early morning high tide, just a couple puddles. This, as you can see, river in the streets. Take a look behind me. I'm going to turn around here. Everywhere you go, water, 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 water. Some of the businesses here tell me that they've just had some water on the floor. It's about ankle deep. They were preparing for it. They said that if that was all that happened, that would be the best case scenario, and it looks like that it has happened. So again, they're waiting for the tide to come out, which will take a couple hours, and then life will get back to normal.
And we go to Brooks County now, where a couple was killed when a tornado picked up and tossed their mobile home. They're identified as Jesse James Newsom and his wife Betty Lee Newsom.
Well, they lived in the small town of Barney, which is about 25 miles northwest of Valdosta. Abby Walton spoke with their stunned neighbors.
The community of Barney, Georgia is mourning the loss of two well-respected members after storms ripped through South Georgia on Sunday. A Christmas tree, a mattress, clothes, signs of Sunday's devastating storm, and to the Barney community, the loss of Jesse and Betty Newsom.
Those two good-hearted people.
Jessica Golden lives with her 4 children next door to the Newsoms. Riding out the storm with only minor damage to her house, Golden says after things calmed down, her first priority was checking to see if the Newsoms were okay.
Me not getting a voice and not hearing anything is just devastating because they was nice people in it. It shouldn't have happened like that.
Living in her house for only a few months, Golden says during that short time, the Newsoms became like grandparents to her children.
They took my kids to church on Sundays when I was at work. They was just there. They were nice neighbors.
Now, looking at the destruction in daylight, Golden says it's bittersweet.
I just thank God for all of our lives.
She's thankful her family survived.
I'm totally sorry for their loss.
And devastated the Newsoms did not.
It could have been worse, but the Lord got all us in his hands. and he know our time. They gone in a better place, and I hope that their family can stick through this and know that I love them, and it's gonna be okay.
A couple whose memory will not be forgotten. In Barney, Georgia, Abby Walton, WCTV Eyewitness News.
When you hear someone's had a heart attack, you probably think unhealthy eating or lack of exercise are to blame, but that is not always the case.
While diet and exercise, of course, are important, other factors can cause heart attacks, especially among women. That's why every Thursday this month, we're going to be learning more about being heart aware. Abby Walton joins us with a closer look.
Eden and Julie, when it does come to heart attacks, the main symptoms for men and women is, of course, chest pain. However, women can exhibit some different symptoms like shortness of breath, nausea, back, or even lower jaw pain. But even if a woman is experiencing this, her age and health might lead doctors to think it's something else.
Green.
With 3 boys, the Larimore house is always on the go.
All right, it's our turn to roll. Can you roll?
Playing mystery board games like Clue is something they do often.
Oh, don't do it. Show Daddy.
But 4 years ago, this family was dealing with a real-life mystery, one starting shortly after the birth of their 3rd son.
He was gestationally small, and I was low on amniotic fluid, and so they went ahead and said, okay, we need to go and induce you.
After giving birth, Dawn was feeling great until one morning her life changed forever.
I went from feeling just your normal heartburn feeling to my entire body felt like it was on fire. I was struggling to breathe. I was kind of feeling numb in my arms, just did not feel right.
But as an avid runner pre and post pregnancies, Dawn at 31 was in great shape. Even her initial EKG was normal. But later that day, while her boys were visiting, Dawn received a shocking call.
They were like, okay, you've had a massive heart attack.
Dr. Akash Ghai was one of the first doctors to see Dawn.
You can see here this little line right here, faintly. That's the dissection in the right coronary artery that she had.
The cause, a rare disorder called spontaneous coronary artery dissection.
We think it has something to do with hormones that are produced during pregnancy.
In Dawn's case, the tears kept happening, 3 in all, in 3 separate arteries.
This is the first case I've seen in a woman who developed a coronary artery dissection after pregnancy, after delivering a child.
The survival rate, 12%. Eventually, stents were placed into one of Dawn's arteries, the other 2 dissections healing on their own.
The hormones that were elevated in her body during the pregnancy gradually got out of her system in the postpartum period.
Leaving the hospital, Dawn worried her days as an active mom were over.
It did take its toll. I mean, my heart was pretty weak. You know, when I came home, I still couldn't lift up, you know, the baby or anything like that.
After several months, she came here to TMH's cardiac rehab, a necessary step in finding her new sense of normal.
It was definitely something I had to learn to deal with. That, okay, yeah, this is you. This is where you're at, and you're going to have to deal with it.
Several years later, Dawn is now working up to running 5 or 6 miles a day.
My heart has healed by the grace of God, you know, just with everything that I have gone through. I'm very blessed.
But unlike the game of Clue, this mystery has no clear resolution. The likelihood of it happening again is rare, but the Larimores aren't taking any chances, becoming their own detectives, pushing for more research to crack the case, helping more women like Dawn survive. And Eden and Julie, we do want to stress that, again, this is an extremely rare condition, and especially in people like Dawn who have no known medical history of connective tissue disorders. So most pregnant women, they don't need to be concerned about this, but if you do know of a family history of maybe some heart disease or things like that, you at least want to mention it to your doctor just so you guys can have a plan for after the baby.
Wow. That's shocking, that story.
It really is, and I want to thank the Larimores for sharing their story as well, and they're actually working with the Mayo Clinic, Dawn is, to help get the genetic maybe makeup of what causes this disorder.
And it's great to see how well she's doing now. So
Right, I saw her playing ball.
thank you so much, Abby.
Back at it.